Ubisoft is going all in with Valhalla, where the Odyssey post-launch was almost coming to an end at this point. With Valhalla, it feels like we're just getting started, with them adding more and more in each update. I want to go over the current state of the game, things that I think should be improved if they want to make things more exciting in the long term, and way more. If you of course like the Valhalla content here on the channel, then totally leave a like, it shows your support. And let's go. There are still a few days left to enter my current Helix credit pack giveaway. Enter via the link in the pinned comment and be sure you are a subscriber of the channel before you enter. I will be announcing the winner in the upcoming weekly reset video. Every month we get the US sales data from the MPD, and we just had the numbers for June, where we see Valhalla on number 14, which is pretty wild as the game is 8 months old of course at this point. Even more impressive is the fact that the game is number 8 in the sales charts of the year so far, like above new games like Outriders that came out this year. And if you look at the last 12 months, so including the release in November, Valhalla is number 3. Only under Black Ops Cold War and Madden. Like, Valhalla is selling really well, and there was no other Ubisoft title mentioned in any of the list I just showed you. No Watch Dogs, Immortals, or Just Dance. Like, Valhalla is the biggest thing Ubisoft got going on right now, next to the ongoing success of Rainbow Six Siege, of course. And with Assassin's Creed Infinity being an early in development project, I totally think they're going to support Valhalla even more than they originally planned. I still think we will see another Assassin's Creed project that is not Valhalla before Infinity, but that's a topic for another video. Right now I want to go over the potential that this Valhalla post-launch still has, and how Ubisoft is laying the groundwork for some exciting things, although I still hope they fix some major problems too. I think it's easy to say that Valhalla is now in its best place since launch. Sure, not every issue or bug has been fixed, and every patch usually introduces a few new ones, but most launch problems have been solved, and we got some great quality of life features like the transmog system, zoom out for finishers, more varied finishers per enemy, sorting in menus, etc. Took a long time for some of those to be added, but I'm glad they are finally here. And Reda is kind of saving this game in between updates, where Odyssey spaced out content so that every week we would either have a new Lost Tales of Greece mission, something in the Ubisoft Club section, an item pack, or an update with brand new features like the loadout system. In Valhalla, the only weekly thing we have is Reda. Like, you could argue if a single player game needs something new every week, but with Ubisoft saying that Valhalla is a live game and them wanting to expand this even more, I think it's fair to criticize them for the long droughts in between patches. Again though, Reda is great. I don't think we've ever hit a point in the post-launch of Odyssey or Origins where the system was as generous as it is right now. Like, waiting for Helix items to appear at Reda is a really valid strategy, because high chance they will appear at some point. And Ubisoft seems to have great systems in place to ensure that we at least get a few never seen before items at Reda each week, which then basically means that you can unlock new items every week if you keep up with the dailies and other challenges. Still wild that they are not spending resources on improving those Opal contracts after 8 months. A question I will ask Jose when I get the chance, hopefully soon. Other questions I will ask are, for example, about Hooded Combat, New Game Plus, which we know is coming, but when? And what's up with those Izu tattoos? I really got a ton of questions. We'll let you know when I got answers. But why it also feels as if we're still relatively early in the post-launch plans for Valhalla is because big things still need to release. Siege of Paris, of course, but also free content. Like, we're still getting 2 new game modes similar to the River Raids and Mastery Challenges, but they will also keep expanding those previous game modes. In a previous video, I already went over the new River Raid maps in Ireland and maybe even Francia, with new champions coming to these levels too, for hopefully a higher challenge. The Mastery Challenge storyline really felt like the start of something big, with likely more Mastery Challenges coming, and also what the heck is this cave and the portals that we find there. Of course, we got the tease at the end of the E3 trailer too. I really think the River Raid armor that we got alongside the Mastery Challenges is really just an indication of what we can expect in the future. For example, the next update will not only kick off Season 3 with the already leaked Sacred Blood Festival, but it will also add the one-handed swords, a brand new weapon type for free. Something we've not seen in the post-launch of Origins or Odyssey period. Will we get those new river raids then already too? I think it kinda depends on when the Siege of Paris launches. So where earlier updates only brought one new addition to the game, like a festival or game modes, in the future we will still get that new addition, plus extra content for the modes that are already out, and sometimes some other new stuff too. And with them going all in on Valhalla till at least the summer of 2022, likely even longer, I totally hope they take the time to fix or redo some of the core systems. Maybe a Project Hell thing like we saw in Rainbow Six and For Honor is a bit too much, but right now we still see the ripple effects of the poor release state of Valhalla in all of the post-launch content. And this especially has an impact on the rewards that are just way less exciting than in the previous games. Not only in terms of looks, with the Mastery Challenge melee weapons being all based on existing items. Sure, they still look great in their own right, but I think more people would care to get these items if there was at least one completely new design to obtain. Having impactful perks would also really help, like the perks on the weapons in Valhalla and the gear as well, really seem like an afterthought. While it should be as, or I would argue, even more important than the look of the item, especially now with the transmog system, like having perks that really enhance your character or add a fun twist to the gameplay, would make it way more exciting to go chase these new items. But right now, this is really lacking. I was really impressed by the amount of armor sets in the Druids DLC, they look quite nice too, but when the newness wore off, there was really no reason to use them again because the stats were all bad, apart from just one armor set. I also feel in no hurry to get the new River Raid armor because the look is fine and the stats are just not really noticeable at all. Like there's no reason to switch gear in Valhalla period because the benefits are minimal and there's no content that really requires a good build. The most challenging content in the game doesn't even let you use your own gear. So now every time new rewards get added, the chance of them being useless in terms of stats is 80 to 90%, which is a huge problem. And I'm sometimes curious how these new items get tested, because losing 1% health for a limited damage buff with the new Mastery Challenge dagger is really not good at all. And the most recent item pack, the Ullr's Hunter pack, is a prime example of this. It has benefits like extra ability damage when equipped, the bow gives you extra ability damage too, just like the shield, meaning that in total you can get 75 extra ability damage when wearing all the items. I have 100 ability damage right now without these items equipped, so when I do, the ability damage is almost doubled. So here I do the extra ability with 100 ability damage, like without these new items. 53, 55, 40, and the final hit is 80. Now if I do the same ability on the same type of enemies, but with the 175 ability damage, so with the full set, I do 66, 67, 43, and 80. So the same amount of damage for the final hit, and almost the same with the third hit, and the first two hits were on an enemy with a lower stun bar, which increases the damage you do against them. So wearing this full set, doubling your ability damage almost, doesn't really do anything. Another great example is the shoulder bash with the 175 ability damage, so with the full armor on, 31 damage, but without the armor, 100 ability damage, I do more damage, 32. I'm really curious why they put these bonuses on gear and weapons when they do not really do a thing. I mean, I showed you this awesome looking shield from the Druids DLC as well, where you have to wait 20 seconds for an ability damage buff that is also not noticeable in the gameplay. And you need to collect special artifacts for this in Ireland. Like, it takes some time to get this shield, so then it sucks that it's like the worst shield in the game. If they don't take a look at this and improve how stats and gear impact the gameplay, then we will be looking at mostly boring rewards in the Siege of Paris and all the Year 2 content. But it is possible because the Mastery Challenges actually show that some perks in Valhalla are really impactful, like having the parry on the heel in the first bear challenge is really nice to stay in the fight while you otherwise have very limited health regen options. In the Temple Bruff Wolf Challenge, you have a bow with the increased attack the further you are from your enemy, and this really means the difference between an insta-kill or needing 2 headshots to kill the enemy. So hopefully with them like really going all in Valhalla, maybe more than they initially planned, they go back and improve these systems. So yeah, the game is more exciting in the long term because they can keep adding stuff, but if the impact is not noticeable, then why even bother, right? I think the gameplay in Valhalla might be my favorite of any game in the series. So like them adding completely new weapon types like the one-handed sword, that is super exciting. But when we go look at the perks from these swords, I'm sure they will all be really boring. No Valhalla updates, by the way, next week. It was not added to the PlayStation files. So it will likely be the final Tuesday of July. When we know more, I will of course let you know here. Subscribe for everything on the game if you haven't already. A like on the video would really help me out. And totally check out my previous video on new Siege of Paris DLC leaks. You can watch that video by clicking on the screen, or I will link to it at the end of our photo mode showcase. You can of course send in your shots to the JorRaptor hashtag on Twitter, or by going to the dedicated pictures channel on my Discord. And you can join the Discord via the link in the pinned comment. Be sure you accept the rules, and then you are able to post. Okay, Joyce, come in. The photo mode expert here on the channel. You selected, of course, 3 shots, so let's look at them.
Yes, hello. First up is Gambit Pog over on Twitter, where Eivor is cheering on 2 Jomsviking who are arm wrestling. Love how they are like just standing in the middle, creeping with the Draugr mask on and putting their hands up. Now I wish this could be like a new activity for a festival or something.
If we could fight the archer lady like this, I would be down for that as well. I would be down for that. Do it!
Next up is V-Score over on Discord, who took this mysterious close-up of Eivor wearing the Basim outfit. Love how you see just a little sparkle in the eye underneath the hood and the focus on the scar on his face. I mean, I know Eivor's not really the sneaky type, but this kind of gives him that vibe, you know? And finally, we've got Dabin XD over on Twitter, where Eivor is looking out over England, relaxing on a high point of view. The background is stunning with the sun coming up and the focus on the city instead of Eivor, who's kind of blurred out here. Very peaceful shot.
Yeah, really cool use of that focus here. Really, really cool. So, share your shots. Maybe you'll be in the next video. Subscribe for more Valhalla content. And totally check out our previous video by clicking on the screen. For now, we'll speak to you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.